Okay guys, this is page 20 here of the DCG solutions. Just gonna have a look here about getting a point view of a line. So it's possible if you're seeing the true length of a line, and here's our heroic spectator here, but if you're seeing the point or the true length of a line by looking perpendicular, and you see the true length of a line, and then you look along the true length, but it has to be looking along the true length, you will see a point view of a line, which would be the equivalent of seeing like this, that the whole pencil appears as a dot. Okay, so that's a point view of a line. That's the idea behind it. So I'm just going to have a quick look at that. Now, this specifies here that it says get an auxiliary plan. Now, we know the word auxiliary means an extra plan. Now, what that really means is that you project from the elevation, so it doesn't have to go downwards really. So this is our elevation. I'm going to call this in 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So this is the elevation, this is the plane, but this is an auxiliary, which means an extra plane. So even though it's drawn above it, now it's always the same. I'm projecting from here, so from the last XY line back is where I'm taking my distances. So that's this point 1. And this short distance here for point 2. So just to number this is 1 and 2, and that there now is the true length of that line. So if I measure the plan here, that is like 47 mil, and in the elevation there's 47 mil, but the true length of this now is actually 54. I'm getting there about 54, and that's the longest it can be. It's a bit like if I measure the pencil here, when it's lying down, that's the longest it can be, but if it's tilting it can appear shorter and shorter and shorter until the shortest it can be is a point. And every line has a maximum true length as well, so it can't appear any longer than that. Now, if I look along this then, so this is what I was saying here a while ago, that if the person that's looking at that looks down along that true length there, so they look down along here, along this, so I'll just set up that angle there. That's the angle I want to look at, and I want to set up a XY line there now, perpendicular. So here's my, so that's XY1, that's my XY line. This is my first auxiliary or extra one, and this is my second one, so I'm going to call that XY2. Okay, so I'm projecting from here, last XY line back, so I'm just taking this distance, so I set that up there. Now the reason this works is because when I'm measuring from the XY line to 1, I get that distance, but the XY line to point 2 is the same, and then when you're looking along it, you've got both 1 and 2 here, so that there is both 1 and 2, so it's a point view. And we're just doing the same again over here, of getting a point view of this. So here is my line, so I want to put an XY line parallel to that, just a few mil out will do. So that's my XY1. We're projecting them out perpendicular then to that. I'll just index these again, so I'll just call that 1 and 2. That's in plan, 1 and 2. So I'll project these out. Well, actually they're absolutely identical, so there's 0 point in doing all this again. I think what they wanted was to do the true length here and do the true length and the point view there. So that's that sorted. Now just on the other side here, it says given the plan and elevation of a line, so I'll just index this again. That's 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So this one then says construct an extra elevation, so we're going to project from the plan. Okay, so this one is looking for an extra elevation, so there is the plan. Just set up an XY line, and I'm going to project these out here perpendicular to that. So I'm projecting from here, so the last XY line back is where my distances are coming from. So 1 is a short distance, so it's just above the ground. So I'll step that out. And then 2 is higher. And this here now is the true length. There's 1, there's 2, that's a true length. So if I measure that, that works out being about 59 mil. Whereas in the elevation here, you can see it appeared as short as 38 or 9 mil. So that's the longest now that it can possibly appear. Now, my next move now is I want to get a point view of that then. So always a point view comes from just looking along a true length, but it has to be a true length. Putting an XY line anywhere. So that's going to be my X. That was my first extra one. This is my second extra XY line. Looking along it. So projecting from this view, last XY line back. Now I kept these close just to keep it on the same part of the page. So that again is the same distance. Both 1 and 2 are the same distance because we put that line parallel here. And that there is the point view of 1, 2. Point view.